Hello, welcome to this energy update for April 2025. I'm personally looking forward to being in April and not in March. March was a lot for me. I don't know about you. So anyway, I'm going to dive right in. Our card for the month of April is the Nine of Wands reversed. This is interesting because for March we had the Four of Swords, which is this energy of resting, right? Of especially mental rest. And we have the Nine of Wands reversed here, which is also about resting in a way. It's about taking breaks, right? It's kind of like the energy of pacing ourselves and really ultimately of checking in with ourselves and with our energetic capacity, right? Which feels a little different, but there can be overlap, but a little different than the sort of mental rest. This is kind of like we are, we need a thermostat on our energetic output and our capacity. We need to check in with ourselves and ensure that we're taking breaks before we get overwhelmed or overloaded. And with this card too, our energetic capacity is being expanded, right? And so there's this sense of like knowing when within yourself that you need to take a break, and also maybe potentially what things around you that are influencing your capacity, that are pulling on your attention, that are in your field, that you might need to rearrange in order to allow yourself to more efficiently and deeply take that recharge, right? So the other cards that we have are the Hermit, Five of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and the Ace of Swords. So I think I'm going to talk about the Ace of Swords first. It kind of didn't really come out in the reading, but it was flipped in the deck and I noticed it. And I really love that because we had the Ten of Swords last month, right? So this is the progression within the Minor Arcana. We go through a cycle beginning with the Ace, ending with the 10, and then we go back into the Ace, right? We're initiating a new cycle. So there's this death rebirth energy. It's a sort of full moon harvest energy. And that's what we had last month. And now this month we have the Ace of Swords, So this is about a new cycle with regard to some part of our mental processing, maybe the stories that we're telling ourselves, right? Our narratives could have to do with our frameworks too, like how we think about things, the way we understand certain things. It can have to do with our relationship with our own ideas, how seriously we take them, whether or not we choose to act on them and communicate them. So with this Ace of Swords energy, we have an opportunity this month, right? This, in the traditional Rider-Waite illustration, there's this disembodied, heavenly, ethereal hand that is descended or emerged, it's emanated, and is presenting us with this sword, right? This sword that symbolizes this new relationship. We're touching again this domain of our lives in a new way. But in order to actualize this opportunity, we have to take action. We have to reach out and grab the sword. So I think this month, it might be a good idea to, if there is something that you feel like you've, new inspiration you've had, a change you want to make, or anything like that, I think that as it pertains to this sword energy, I think that would be a really good thing to do. Another thing you could do is just somehow ritualize this, right? Like even a simple fire ritual where you're writing down maybe the stories that you're ready to release about yourself. I know I recently decided to start doing mirror work and incorporating affirmations into that in response to the Ten of Swords culmination that I had this past month, which was rather intense. So thinking about the power in really taking some sort of action, some sort of initiatory step in this new relationship that we have the opportunity to experience with our own stories, with our story. That's huge. That's so fundamental, you know? So that is really cool. I love that for us. And then we have the Hermit and the High Priestess sandwiching the Five of Pentacles. So I'm going to start with the Five of Pentacles, which is, it speaks to this fear that we're not going to have what we need, that we're not going to get there, that maybe this thing that we want just isn't for us. And it can be anywhere along that spectrum, you know, and it can really pertain to any aspect of life. So this is a really tender energy. It's a 5, it's contraction, but this month I think we're being invited to really work with these types of thoughts and feelings and these fears with a lot of consciousness. And the more that we're able to really be present with where we're at, with what is here, the more support we'll find, the more, and we'll find gifts and medicine that we need. I think it's a very strong message that I'm getting here this month. You know, with the Five of Pentacles too, sometimes there can be this kind of preoccupation with not having, with the lack, with what we don't have currently. That gets so strong and is so dysregulating that our field of vision kind of contracts, and sometimes we're not able to see the support or the resource or the opportunity that's here, that is here for us, you know. So with the Hermit, I feel like these cards really complement one another. It's also interesting because this is a Hermit year, 2025, and you know, we're in Aries season now, right? So in some ways we're entering the year within the year, right? And the Hermit is about, so imagine yourself walking in the dark with a staff, you know, with a lantern, and the lantern only illuminates a few feet ahead of you, right? It's just the next step, maybe the next 3 steps, but not much beyond that. So, you know, I feel like there's almost this merging to me between this Hermit card and the Five of Pentacles. It's like, what comes up when we're just here, actually here with what is, when we can't see what's coming, we don't have that security, right? And you know, I mean, we never really do, right? But when we're in this energy of the Hermit, it can, our sense of plans sometimes, we feel the mystery, right? We feel it pressing in on us, that symbolic darkness, the lack of vision and clear sight. And it can bring up fears. It can kind of push us into that Five of Pentacles experience. But ultimately, I think we're really being invited this month and this year to embrace the mystery and to trust that we do have what we need in this moment. And we can see the next step. And beyond seeing, there's this sense in the Hermit, this sort of deep embodied wisdom that comes through in the taking of each step, right? The answers are found in the walking of the path. It's about the walking. So, but I also feel like there's just this strong emphasis on there being gifts in this. Exactly where we are, exactly how we're moving, at the exact pace that we're going, right? And the more that we're able to bow to what's here, bow to our current circumstances, bow to our pace, bow to the benevolent darkness, right? Bow to that ignorance. The more wisdom and it's a transformative process, and what we're being initiated into is a different type of presence in relationship with what is, with divine timing for sure, with trusting divine timing, and in some ways with experiences of not really having things be the way we want them to, right? We also have the High Priestess. So this energy is really similar. I mean, in the High Priestess, one difference is that she's not moving, she's not walking. She's seated, she's still, and she's listening. This card is about deep listening. And it's trusting that you know what you need to know, and that you do know. You are the answer. You have the answer. And sometimes when I pull this card, like, personally, I feel like I'm looking for confirmation. I'm looking for something outside of me to tell me what to do, to tell me the answer. And when I pull this card, it's like, you know the answer. It's like I want, life to force my hand, life to show me, to force me into an option. And it's like, no, you have a choice, and the right choice for yourself. Like, you already know. And I find when I pull this card that I do know, right? It can kind of function as a permission slip for myself to accept that which I have resistance to accepting within myself in terms of my own intuition, my own guidance. So I think that might be a theme this month, And I think that it's going to be important for us to, as we're taking breaks, right, as we're resting, as we're coming back in, it's a very kind of internal energy, and just not letting ourselves forget or delude ourselves that we don't have the answers that we need, right? And we may not have all of the answers. But again, it comes back to this hermit energy of like, we're taking things one step at a time. And we're really being present with, again, what's here now. So from the Soul's Journey Oracle deck, we have the card of honesty. And this is interesting, you know, there's some pretty potent Mercury energy this month in April. We have Mercury stationing direct, Venus stationing direct as well, and Mercury kind of hangs out around the North Node for a bit. So being honest with ourselves, and perhaps also speaking honestly to others, like sharing our honest truths, maybe sharing something that we've been afraid to share, or that's been a long time coming, you know. There's a lot of potent energy around our communication and our honesty with ourselves, of course, first and foremost, but it feels like it's being shared. And then the last cards that we have are Brothers of the Rose and the Second Bloom. So this is super interesting because we had the Brothers of the Rose last month. So we have a continuation here of this theme, which is about the sacred masculine. It says sacred masculine, honor, protection, support. You know, last month I spoke about this theme of anchoring in and experiencing activations around our inner protectors, right? Like the masculine is conceived as that which protects, and that part of us which has this embodied discernment and this instinct and knows when to draw a boundary, when to stand up, you know, when to retreat, how to caretake that within us which is vulnerable and tender. You know, it's also about honoring the sacred emanations of masculinity that exist around you. You know, lifting people up. There's something here with this theme right now which is really so interesting. The card also speaks to potentially meeting or it's just some energy around a masculinity or a masculine person. Yeah, I also feel like this is speaking to support, right? And like receiving support. And I think it's interesting here with the Five of Pentacles, right? And I think it's important for us to hold space for receiving the support that we need, and to continue to work on perhaps our limiting beliefs around that, and to remaining open and curious to support that we might not be seeing, or to even just energetically hold space for that to come in, right? And then the last card we have is the Second Bloom. So it says a second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. So this is really a sweet energy here, and I feel that it's speaking to being open to life. And you know, if we think about a second chance, there's almost the sense that it's kind of a rarity, right? Like, do they deserve it? Are we going to get a second chance? And there's this kind of this energy of like limitation and lack, right? That's involved. It's like, I don't know, like, please give it to me, or I don't know if I'm going to get it. And I feel like this card is like just speaking to this reblooming that is your birthright, right? And to kind of navigating the seasons of blooming and wilting and like this kind of like life cycles, right? And holding that space for yourself. Like if you feel like in certain areas I've kind of been in a desert. I mean, I feel like it does relate to this Five of Pentacles energy. It's like we're holding space and we're doing our work, and this can relate to the Ace of Swords too, like paying attention to our mental stories and really grasping them with intention, right? Wielding that power that we have to, you know, influence our internal narratives, and really holding space for new possibilities, right? For our own blooming, especially in an area where it might feel tender. It might feel like we don't know if we're ever gonna get there. And I feel like I have this energy like multiple areas of my life, you know? And it's so tender. Yeah, this card's really sweet. That's it for this reading. I'm wishing you a powerful April. I'm wishing you the strength of presence and the consciousness that you might need to navigate this. I think it's a good month to really work with story and the stories that we're telling ourselves, and to hold space for beauty and blooming and divine timing, really, to hold space for things working out, even in the mystery, in the void, in the unknown. And, you know, to cultivate the strength to be with what is, because let's be honest, like, it can be really challenging. And I think this month, the more we're able to kind of bow to that and be willing, be open to being transformed simply by being with what is, to receive a gift in our deep presence and bowing to what's here now in our lives. I'm wishing you the grace of presence, of unseen and perhaps unexpected support. And I'm hoping that you can really feel, if not real signs of a second bloom, that you can feel those energetic buds in your heart, in your being, in the darkness. Okay? That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this for myself as well. And I think that's a pretty powerful and lovely image, you know. It's a little bit like cocoon kind of energy. So I'm wishing you a very powerful April. Bye now.